time is ultimately not helpful as far as your awakening is concerned. Time is not helpful. In fact, it's a hindrance in your awakening.
You were born into a prison with no bars, no guards, and no walls. Just one rule: wait. Wait for your breakthrough. Wait for love. Wait for success. Wait for God. They call it divine timing. But what if I told you that was the trap all along? Because time, the very thing you trust to bring your dreams closer, is the exact thing keeping you from them. You don't need more patience. You don't need more prayer. You don't need more time. You need to wake up. Because here's the terrifying truth. Every time you say one day, you're sending a message to the universe. Not yet. And the universe? It doesn't judge. It mirrors. You think you're manifesting, but you're really just broadcasting lack. And that's not magic. It's mechanics. It's the physics of frequency. If you're still stuck, still broke, still alone, it's not because you're lazy. It's because your consciousness is locked inside linear time. This video isn't about motivation. It's not about goal setting. It's about escaping the illusion you were raised in. It's about collapsing time. It's about becoming the version of you who already has it all, now. Transcend time, or stay trapped in reality. They told you to be patient, that good things take time, that your moment is coming if you just wait long enough. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Time is the greatest scam in the third dimension. You've been taught to chase your dreams in a straight line, step by step, year by year, like climbing a staircase made of hope. But your desired reality doesn't live on a staircase. It doesn't live in the future. It doesn't live in your 5-year plan. It lives outside of time. Because time is not a law of the universe, it's a law of this dimension. Just like gravity, time is a localized illusion. It governs the third dimension, but not the higher realms. That's why your manifestations feel stuck. You're trying to create something eternal, using tools built for the temporary. And that's the trap. You say, "I'll get there." The universe hears, "I'm not there yet." And it reflects that belief perfectly. So the question isn't, when will it happen? The real question is, why do you still believe you need time at all? Because the more you think in timelines, the more you stay a prisoner of them. They gave it a holy name, so you'd never question it. God's timing. Divine timing. Words draped in gold leaf and incense, yet they mask the oldest hustle on earth: delay. Religious crowds chant, "I'll receive it when God is ready." New Age circles hum, "It will arrive in divine timing." Different vocabulary, same sentence to the universe: hold off. I'm not ready. But here's the heresy that will set you free. God withholds nothing. Source can't stall. It lives outside clocks. The universe mirrors. It doesn't ration. So, who's doing the rationing? Look in the mirror. The moment you outsource your power to a cosmic schedule, you handcuff your future to a myth. Because divine timing is an oxymoron. The divine exists where time disappears. Saying you'll receive it in God's timing is like saying you'll surf when the ocean stops being wet. It will never happen. Because the premise is nonsense. Still, your old frequency loves this lie. It whispers, "Wait a little longer. Patience is holy." Translation: stay in the vibration that keeps me alive. Every hour you spend waiting is an hour you broadcast lack. And the universe, ever the faithful mirror, echoes that frequency back. Break the spell. Stop scheduling miracles. Start embodying them. Time, distance, separation. These are not laws. They're illusions. They are the default operating system of the third dimension, installed in your consciousness before you could even speak. From the moment you were born, you were trained to believe in the false trinity of limitation. You are here. Your dream is there. And time is what gets you from point A to point B. But here's the cosmic glitch they don't want you to find. There is no A. There is no B. There is only now. And everything you desire is already encoded within it. Still, you try to manifest like you've been taught. You visualize what you want, but you still believe it's somewhere in the future. You affirm abundance while emotionally identifying with lack. And then you wonder why nothing sticks. Because you're trying to create realities that exist outside of time, while using tools built inside of it. That's like trying to stream 4K on a dial-up modem. It's not that the reality isn't available. It's that your consciousness is on the wrong bandwidth. This is the third dimensional trap, the attempt to transcend from within. The ancient mystics called this world Maya, the grand illusion. And now, science confirms what spirituality always knew. You only perceive a microscopic sliver of reality, 0.0035% of the electromagnetic spectrum. The rest, hidden in plain sight. So what are you actually manifesting? Not what you want, but what your nervous system is calibrated to perceive. That's why meditation matters. That's why shifting your state is more powerful than scripting your goals. Because your desired reality doesn't care about your vision board. It doesn't respond to your to-do list. It responds to your frequency, the embodied truth of what you believe right now. I want wealth translates to I don't have wealth. I will find love translates to love is missing from my life. Every intention filtered through third-dimensional thinking becomes a prayer of absence. So you stay stuck in a cycle, a loop. One where you keep trying to leap into the future while your spirit is shackled to the past. And here's the kicker. The more you focus on time, the more time expands between you and what you want. Your manifestation doesn't move away from you. You move away from it. This is why people hustle for years and never arrive. Why they chase love, but attract lessons. Why they seek freedom, but build new prisons. Because they never question the operating system itself. You've been taught that manifestation is about doing, but it's about being. It's not about effort. It's about alignment. You don't escape the third-dimensional trap by climbing the ladder. You escape it by realizing there was never a ladder to begin with. Your dream isn't somewhere else. It's right here, folded into a version of you that already exists. But that version of you doesn't follow clocks. It doesn't obey logic. It doesn't wait. It is. And until you step out of the timeline, out of the waiting, out of the illusion, you'll keep trying to create heaven from inside a box labeled not yet. So break the rules, break the spell, break the dimension, because the moment you stop believing in time is the moment your reality stops being limited by it. Reality doesn't shift all at once. It bends quietly, accumulates slowly, until the dam breaks and everything changes overnight. That overnight success, it was compounding. That sudden healing, compounding. That miracle that just showed up, compounding. But most people don't see it because they're busy measuring progress by how things look, not how things feel. Frequency compounds faster than action, and energy builds silently until it doesn't. The universe operates on compound interest, not just financially but energetically. Every thought is a deposit. Every emotion is an investment. Every reaction is a vote for the future you're building. And just like money in an interest-bearing account, what you hold multiplies. Your dominant vibration is your compound balance sheet. But here's where most people lose the game. They change their mindset for an hour, then spiral for the next 6. They journal gratitude in the morning, then complain by lunch. They hold the frequency of wealth for 10 minutes, then spend the rest of the day emotionally broke. Would you expect a retirement fund to grow if you kept withdrawing every day? Of course not. So why expect your reality to change when you keep pulling your frequency out of alignment? Think of bamboo. For years, after being planted, it doesn't seem to grow. Above the surface, nothing. But beneath, it's building an intricate root system, preparing to explode. And when the roots are finally ready, bamboo can grow over 90 feet in just 6 weeks. That's not a miracle. That's compound momentum. The same applies to manifestation. You may not see the results for weeks, even months, but the roots are building. If you don't dig them up with doubt, hold the state, trust the unseen, because once the frequency locks in, the growth is exponential. Frequency plus time equals breakthrough. Let's be clear. The universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you sustain. That's why the rule is simple. Frequency times duration equals destiny. Hold fear long enough, and it becomes your environment. Hold confidence long enough, and it becomes your income. Here's what that looks like. 1 day of embodying wealth equals a good mood. 10 days of embodying wealth amass subtle shifts in behavior. 30 days, alkaristes, unexpected income. 90 days. Entire identity rewired. 6 months. New life, new orbit. But most people don't make it past day 3. They get distracted, they get discouraged, they check for proof, and unplug the energy before it can arrive. Time isn't working against you. It's waiting for you to compound your energy into form. And the longer you hold the frequency, the stronger it gets, until eventually it becomes undeniable. Not because you prayed harder, not because you worked longer, but because you outlasted the old version of you. If you want to change your life, don't try to do it all at once. Just sustain the frequency. Because miracles aren't sudden. They're stacked, layered, reinforced. And once you build enough energetic equity, reality pays out with interest. Ever notice how things get worse right before they're about to get better? How everything starts falling apart right when you finally decide to change? That's not a coincidence. It's a counterattack. Because the moment you start shifting frequencies, your old reality declares war. Not with guns or explosions, but with delays, doubts, detours, and disappointments. You'll start to wonder, maybe it's not my time. Maybe this frequency stuff doesn't work. Maybe I should just go back to the way things were. That's not divine guidance. That's energetic inertia. Your former identity fighting to survive. Understand this. Your old frequency isn't just a mindset. It's a living system. It has emotional habits, behavioral patterns, neural networks, and it doesn't want to die. When you stop feeding it with familiar thoughts, it panics. So it whispers, wait just a little longer. Be patient. Don't be too extreme. It sounds spiritual. It sounds wise. But it's resistance in disguise. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. The version of you that created your current life must collapse to make room for the next one. And that collapse? It's rarely graceful. It's loud, messy, emotional, just like birth. Let's go deeper. Sometimes resistance shows up as what feels like intuition. It sounds soft, familiar, spiritual, even holy. Maybe this isn't aligned. Maybe I need more healing first. Maybe I should just trust divine timing. But here's how you know it's not true guidance. It makes you shrink. It keeps you waiting. It delays your embodiment. Real divine guidance never tells you to become less. It never delays your power. So ask yourself, is this voice expanding me or excusing me? Is this message calling me forward or lulling me back to sleep? Because not all guidance is from the higher self. Some of it is just your old self wearing a robe. Your old vibration is clever. It doesn't fight you head on. It shapeshifts. Sometimes it looks like overthinking. Sometimes it disguises itself as doing more research. Other times it puts on a halo and says, this just isn't the right season. But seasons don't determine your frequency. Your frequency creates your season. You don't wait for alignment. You decide it. Think of a software update. Your screen glitches. The system restarts. Old files disappear. That's what happens energetically when you shift timelines. Everything that was aligned with the old you starts to malfunction. Not because something's wrong, but because something bigger is trying to emerge. Breakdowns are not breakdowns. They're exits. They are the old timeline's last breath. This is the moment where most people quit. They see the chaos and think, this must be a sign to turn back. But it's the opposite. The chaos is the signal that you're finally breaking orbit. Rockets burn the most fuel at liftoff. Planes shake hardest just before leveling out. And lives fall apart just before they come together. So don't fall for the lie. Don't confuse turbulence with misalignment. This is the point of no return. You're not being tested. You're being initiated. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they're thinking in the wrong dimension. They're trapped in the unconscious habit of defining life through the lens of past, present, and future. They say things like, I will be successful. One day, I'll have it. Eventually, it's going to happen. But every time you say, I will, you're sending a signal to the universe. I am not. And the universe? It doesn't grant wishes. It mirrors states. So instead of drawing the future to you, you push it away by projecting it into a place that doesn't exist. Let's break it down. I will be wealthy equals I'm not wealthy now. I will find love equals I'm alone now. I will be healthy equals I'm sick now. You may not mean it that way, but the universe only responds to vibration, not intention. So while your words reach forward, your frequency stays behind. And that contradiction cancels the entire signal. The moment you say, I will, you declare that the thing you want is not part of your current identity. And manifestation has nothing to do with effort. It has everything to do with identity. A woman spends years telling herself, I'm going to launch my business one day. Eventually, I'll leave this job and step into my purpose. She writes affirmations. She watches manifestation videos. But years pass and nothing changes. Why? Because going to is a permanent placeholder. It delays identity. And as long as she sees herself as someone trying to become a business owner, she can never be the one who already is. Instead of showing up with the energy of a founder, she shows up with the energy of a fantasizer. So the universe responds accordingly. More delays, more signs, more reasons to wait. Until one day, she flips the script. She starts saying, I run a business that deeply serves people. My purpose funds my life. This is who I am. Within weeks, clients appear, not because the universe decided to act, but because she finally did. Linear time is the ego's favorite playground. Why? Because as long as what you want is in the future, you never have to face who you are right now. So you get stuck in the becoming loop. You read more books, watch more videos, write new affirmations, say, "I'm working on it." But what you're really doing is delaying embodiment. You're becoming forever, but never arriving. And the longer you stay in that loop, the more your nervous system normalizes the gap. Eventually, the dream starts to feel mythical. A hope, a maybe, a someday. And someday is where dreams go to die. For example, the fitness loop. He's out of shape, tired of looking in the mirror and seeing someone he doesn't recognize. So he makes a decision. I'm going to get fit. He starts strong, buys supplements, watches motivational content, even goes to the gym for a few weeks. But his inner dialogue is still future-based. I'm going to have abs. One day, I'll look like that. So what happens? He keeps making decisions like someone who's trying to get fit, not someone who already is. He slips, just once, then twice. Then his old identity rushes back in like a tide. But when he finally shifts to saying, I treat my body like a temple, I move like an athlete, health is part of who I am now. Everything changes, not because of motivation, but because of alignment. His frequency caught up with the identity he once postponed. Here's what they never taught you. The future doesn't exist. It's a placeholder for identity you haven't claimed yet. There is no then. There is only now. And what you claim now becomes the loop that forms your tomorrow. Not by magic, by resonance. You start thinking from the reality, not about it, not toward it, from it. You stop saying, I will, and start saying, I am. You stop chasing the future and start broadcasting the frequency of already having it. That's not delusion. That's transcendence. That's not denial. That's dominion. Because when you think like the future is already yours, time has no choice but to obey. So now you know what's keeping you stuck. The illusion that you have to wait, earn, struggle, or deserve your future. But if you want to collapse time and manifest with power, you need to think differently, not logically, not optimistically, transcendently. Transcendent thinking is the language of the already. It broadcasts fulfillment before it shows up. It thinks from the destination, not toward it. You're not reaching. You're remembering. You're not building the bridge. You're already on the other side. Transcendent thinking sounds like this. Not, I want to make $100,000 a month, but $100,000 months are normal for me. Not, I hope I find the right partner, but I'm so grateful for the love I get to share every day. Not, one day I'll be confident, but this version of me radiates presence. I walk into rooms like I belong there. Transcendent thinking doesn't beg. It doesn't wonder. It doesn't negotiate with reality. It declares. It assumes. It embodies. Because it knows. You don't manifest what you desire. You manifest what you are. Why this works? The physics of frequency. Reality is not responding to your thoughts. It's responding to the frequency behind your thoughts. And frequency equals identity. When you shift into transcendent thinking, you're not just changing your mind. You're changing your signature, your emotional tone, your posture, your expectations, your perception. You no longer walk around as someone trying to manifest. You move through the world as someone who already has, and the universe adjusts instantly. Let's say you're single and you want a healthy, aligned relationship. Here's how most people think. I just want to be loved. I'm ready to attract someone amazing. I hope I meet them soon. This is linear, time-bound language. It implies that love is still missing. Now let's flip it. It feels so good to be seen, valued, and supported. I love how easy and effortless our connection is. Every day, I wake up grateful for the peace they bring into my life. That's transcendent thinking. You're not begging for love. You're broadcasting the experience of already being loved. You're not delusional. You're aligning your inner world to the blueprint of your desired reality. And since reality is a mirror, it can only reflect what you broadcast. This is not fake until you make it. Let's be clear. Transcendent thinking is not lying to yourself. It's not pretending. It's not woo-woo. It's you tuning into the version of you that already exists on a higher timeline. Because in the quantum field, there is no past or future. There is only now, stacked in infinite variations. You're not inventing a new identity. You're activating it. That version of you already exists. They're not somewhere else. They're not someday away. They are here, waiting for you to step into them. Your identity is not static. It's a frequency-based construct. It's changeable, moldable, fluid. So when you change your thoughts, you don't just change how you feel. You change who you are. And when you change who you are, you don't attract things. You collapse the timeline between you and the version of you who already has them. Want to rewire your mind for transcendence? Ask yourself this: what would I be thinking if it had already happened? Then think from there. Speak from there. Walk from there. Let that become your new baseline. Because if you do it long enough, the world can't help but catch up. The world doesn't change when you want something. It changes when you become the version of you who has it. That's transcendent thinking. It's not magic. It's not blind faith. It's the most grounded spiritual law in existence. Assume the state, and the state becomes fact. Let's be real. It's easy to talk about transcendent thinking. It's harder to feel it when your reality still looks like struggle. You can repeat affirmations. Visualize your goals. Say "I am" all day long. But deep down, you might still feel like a fraud, like you're pretending, like you're lying to yourself. So let's address the elephant in the room. What do you do when your current life doesn't match your future identity? When you say, "I am wealthy," but you're overdrafting your bank account? When you affirm love while sleeping alone? Here's the truth most manifestation coaches won't tell you. There's a gap, and the gap hurts. But the gap isn't proof you're doing it wrong. The gap is proof you're starting to shift. Think of your current self like an outdated operating system, and your desired reality as the latest upgrade. You've downloaded the file, you've installed the intention, but the reboot, that's where most people quit. Why? Because during the reboot, everything goes dark. The screen freezes, the programs glitch. It feels like regression. But in truth, you're upgrading. And the discomfort you feel, it's not failure. It's friction between frequencies. Let's say you're manifesting a higher income. You start saying, "I make $10,000 a month easily." But at that moment, you're still checking your account twice a day. still choosing between groceries and gas, still mentally budgeting every dollar. So your nervous system rebels. Your mind says, "This is fake." Your body says, "We've been broke for years." And your emotions scream, "Liar." This is where most people self-sabotage. They assume the discomfort is a sign to stop. But it's actually a sign to keep going. Because you can't skip the gap. But you can walk through it faster if you stop doubting the process. Your emotions are valid, but they're not laws. Feel the doubt. Acknowledge it. Then, choose alignment anyway. Borrow the frequency from the future. You ask yourself, how would the version of me who already has it think, act, and feel right now? You don't need to believe it yet. You just need to practice it. Detach from the proof. Proof comes after alignment, not before. So stop refreshing your email looking for a breakthrough. Stop needing the external to confirm the internal. When you stop needing proof, it shows up. You're allowed to feel conflicted. You're allowed to wobble between "I believe" and "I doubt." That's part of identity death. That's the shedding. But you must remember, the mind catches up to the frequency. The body catches up to the belief. The results catch up to the embodiment. So no, you're not faking it. You're becoming it. And the discomfort? That's your old self, dying in real time. Actors don't wait to become the character. They step into it. Voice, posture, emotions, tone. At first, it feels unnatural. They're pretending. But the more they do it, the more the lines blur. Eventually, they don't play the role. They are the role. Manifestation works the same way. You don't wait until life casts you in the role of wealthy, or confident, or loved. You take the role now, before the world recognizes it. Because the world isn't the casting director. You are. No one talks about this part. The in-between. The emotional whiplash. The spiritual growing pains. But now you know the secret. The gap is part of the miracle. The resistance is part of the recalibration. The discomfort is evidence that you're no longer who you were. So when reality tells you you're not there yet, you respond, "Watch me." Because eventually, the outer world always catches up with the inner one. If you hold the frequency long enough for it to arrive. So you've shifted your thoughts. You're thinking from the future. You're feeling the vibration of already having it. And then your mind sneaks in. Okay, but how's it going to happen? When will it show up? And just like that, you've time traveled back into limitation. Because the moment you ask how or when, you're no longer thinking from the desired reality. You're thinking from the absence of it. You've reattached to time. You've reattached to control. You've reattached to ego. And the frequency collapses. The ego can't stand the unknown. It demands a roadmap. It wants a guarantee. So it starts asking, what steps do I need to take? What strategy should I follow? How will this all work out? But here's the brutal truth. The version of you that already has it doesn't ask how. They're not mapping out every move. They're not checking the calendar. They're not negotiating with time. They're living it, breathing it, broadcasting it. The only reason you're still asking how or when is because you haven't fully accepted that it's already done. An artist wanted to go full-time with her work. She said all the right things. I'm living in abundance. Clients flow to me easily. My creativity is magnetic. But every night, she would spiral. How is anyone going to find me? What platform should I focus on? What if it takes too long? She thought she was manifesting, but she was broadcasting doubt coded as strategy. When she finally let go of how, when she surrendered the timeline. Her art was reposted by a celebrity within a week. Her income doubled. Her reach exploded. Not because she figured it out, but because she stopped trying to. Your mind is brilliant, but it's built to navigate the past, not to predict divine unfolding. Your future self lives outside of logic, outside of linear time, outside of everything your current identity can comprehend. So when you try to force the how, you shrink your possibilities to the size of your current understanding. You trade infinite paths for one narrow plan. You replace divine timing with deadline anxiety. You block magic with micromanagement. The result? Missed miracles, delayed outcomes, endless waiting. You're not supposed to know how. Let that land. You're not supposed to know how. You're supposed to know who you are, who you're becoming, who already lives in that reality. The how is not your job. The how is what the universe handles once your frequency is aligned. Your only job is this: decide what you want. Become the version of you who already has it. Stay there. Let the rest unfold. When your mind demands how, interrupt it with power. Ask, what would I be thinking if it had already happened? How would I feel if it was already mine? What decision would I make from that identity? These questions don't pull you into doubt. They anchor you in alignment. They don't require control. They require trust. The truth about divine unfolding time is illusion. But unfolding is real. And once your frequency aligns, the universe starts moving in ways your ego could never calculate. Random conversations lead to breakthroughs. Old contacts resurface with new offers. Opportunities appear where you weren't even looking. It feels like fate. It looks like coincidence. But it's not luck. It's resonance. It's the natural result of someone who stopped asking when and started being now. The fastest way to delay your manifestation? Try to manage the details. The fastest way to accelerate it? Drop the need to know how. Because when you stop chasing, when you stop checking the clock, when you stop waiting for proof, you collapse time. Reality obeys, and the future version of you shows up in the mirror. Everything you've learned so far leads to this. Time is a trap. Desire is not enough. Identity is everything. And reality doesn't wait for permission. It waits for alignment. But here's the truth that changes everything. You are not waiting to walk into a new reality. You are the portal that creates it. You don't manifest by force. You don't manifest by luck. You manifest by frequency. The world around you is a delayed mirror of the world within you. You're not hoping for the future. You're tuning into it. You're not chasing timelines. You're collapsing them. You are not a receiver. You're a transmitter. You've been taught to ask, when will it happen? How do I get there? What's the path forward? But those questions come from a passive self, a self who thinks life is happening to them. It's not. Reality doesn't respond to need. It responds to certainty. And when you walk in that certainty, when you live as the version of you who already has it, life doesn't delay. It rearranges. Think of a thermostat. It doesn't react to the temperature. It sets it. And once set, the entire room begins adjusting. You are that thermostat. You don't respond to the world. You program it. This is what it means to be the portal. You shift your internal climate, and the external world follows. Quietly, systematically, inevitably. The ending is the beginning. So now what? Now you stop speaking like a seeker. You stop thinking like a beggar. You stop living like a version of you still waiting to be chosen. and you start being the one who has, the one who knows, the one who already is, because you are the frequency, you are the signal, you are the source. You were never manifesting a thing. You were manifesting a version of you. That's why the world had to wait, not because the prize wasn't ready, but because you weren't aligned with the version of you who could hold it. Now, you are. So here's how we end. You stop looking at time like a road. You stop looking at God like a gatekeeper. You stop looking at your dreams like distant stars. You are the portal. You don't follow reality. Reality follows you. And when you finally know that, time bends, matter yields, and the life you once imagined becomes the one you wake up in. Now go, be it, and never look back.